So we're here today. It's December 29th, 2017. We're at Clay and Joyce Holland's house, and we're interviewing Phil and Clay Holland. And most of this interview is about Uncle Phil because we don't get to see him as often. But could y'all tell us who you are and when were you born and where you were born and this, that, and the other? First, middle, and last name, and
Okay,
where you were born and when.
my name is Philip P. Holland. I was born in Southport, Virginia in 1938. And when I was born with a twin brother. And I was the first one that was born, so I'm the oldest.
Okay.
By 5 minutes?
No, I was a little more than that, maybe 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
And the thing of it is, back in those days, twins were a surprise.
Okay. Had no idea.
That's right.
Okay.
And the doctor thought it may be twins, but he didn't. He wouldn't commit.
Right.
Yeah. So when we were born, there were two.
Okay. All right.
Did he give mother any idea, mama or daddy any idea that it was going to be twins?
I don't think so.
So you think it's a complete
Yeah,
surprise?
I think it was.
Huh.
Yeah.
And the brother was Uncle Gene.
Yeah.
And so,
Eugene Emmett Holland.
okay. All right. Well, Dad, how about you?
Well, I'm Carl Clay Holland. I was born August 9th, 1944 in Franklin, Virginia. And one of the interesting things about my name and Phil and Gene's name, and Phil can comment on this, but Daddy named us all with double initials, Philip Parker,
Okay.
Eugene Emmett, and Carl Clay.
Okay.
And I think his idea was that we'd one day be lawyers or something, Phil, or doctors. Was it
Is that
doctors?
right?
Yeah. We'd put our slab up EEP and CCC.
And,
Okay.
And he thought his goal was that we'd all work together, in that profession.
Right.
And whatnot.
All right. That's pretty interesting. I hadn't heard that before. Okay. Well, Uncle Phil, what's some of your first memories? What, as a child?
I'm too old.
Where'd you first grow up? When y'all were born, where were y'all living?
Well, we were living on a farm
Okay.
in Nansemond County, Virginia,
And that's what's known as South Key now?
close to
Close
South
to
Key.
South
Yeah.
Key.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you and Gene growing up, y'all were 6 years older than Dad, right? Y'all were
Right.
6 years older than Clay. And do you remember that time before Clay was born?
I
Little bit.
remember some things,
Yeah.
but as far as the details are concerned, those things I might remember because I've seen the pictures of them,
Right.
such as the little train that Daddy built out in the front yard.
So I understand he was quite good with his hands and could build these things.
Daddy, yeah, he was pretty good carpenter.
Okay.
Had a shop, kind of a shop in a house behind the main house,
Okay.
and he built two boats. I know to allow us to go fishing in the creek.
Just like a
And
rowboat
all
size?
around. Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And where did he learn all that from? His dad?
No, his dad died when he was 6 years old.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So who do you think he learned it from? Just different jobs?
He just learned it himself.
Taught himself?
Of course, he read popular mechanics, and they
Okay.
had a lot of things.
Right.
Popular science and popular mechanics
Okay.
had a lot of things in it to build.
Okay. And that workshop, was it all hand tools, or did he have any machinery in there? Or?
He had a planer,
Okay.
and let's see, I think that was the only electrical
Mm-hmm.
thing he had. Was
Okay.
A
He
planer.
had a saw.
Like a
Yeah,
band
that's
saw?
right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, had a small band saw.
Okay. All right. And he continued to build stuff like that the rest of his life?
Well, not to the rest of his life. He had cataracts, and it got to the point where he couldn't see.
Okay, all right.
And so he had a hard time building that last boat. I kind of
Is that right?
remember part of that
Uh-huh.
because of his poor eyesight.
Okay. And how did he? So I understand building a wooden boat, but what did he cover it in pitch or something? How did he keep the water from coming in?
Painted. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
All
he
right.
used a wood called juniper, didn't he, Phil?
Yeah.
That would expand
in
the water.
Once it gets wet, it expands.
But
Okay.
it's light also.
Okay.
Juniper was light.
All right. All right. And so he built the track around the house.
No, I didn't get it. The
Okay.
track was a straight track. My guess is 50 feet.
Yeah.
Or something like that. He built a little house for the train.
Yeah.
And you pedal out of the house onto the track down to the end of the track, and then you pedal back.
Okay. All right. So it was like a pedal car?
Yeah.
All right. Dad was talking about it might have been a push car, but it's more of a pedal car.
No, yeah.
Okay.
And it was one seat behind the other. We
Right.
saw a picture of it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Did he build anything else for the track?
No.
Okay. All right. Anything else you can think of that he built that was significant? Probably bookshelves and furniture. And,
No, he never did.
Is
I
that
don't
right?
think he ever built anything like that.
Was there a swing set he made for y'all? Some kind
Don't
of
remember.
swing set? Okay.
There's a
See,
picture of
maybe
y'all
I've
on a
seen
swing
picture
set.
of it one time.
and it's more like a porch swing. It's a big triangular thing, and you guys would face each other. There was a
Yeah,
picture of
I
that,
don't
but
remember.
y'all couldn't have been 3 years old at the
No,
time.
I don't remember that.
Right. But Dad, do you remember any of the stuff that he built?
No, because it seems to me when I came along, I don't really remember him working in the wood shop much because of his eyesight.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cataracts hit him when y'all were young.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
See, he was, I'm trying to think, how old was Daddy when you all were born? Do you remember?
45, I think.
He died in '69, is what we had
That's
talked about
about right,
previously, right?
because he was 51 or 2 or something when I was born, so that would have been
Okay.
about right.
Okay. All right.
But cataracts back then could not be repaired like cataracts today.
Right.
Daddy had to go into a hospital in Baltimore, I believe, wasn't it, Phil? John Hopkins?
I thought it was in Suffolk for that. I think he went up there to maybe visit a doctor, but I think the surgery was in Suffolk.
Okay.
But he had to stay in the hospital.
Not Suffolk, in Norfolk.
In Norfolk,
Okay.
yeah, maybe so.
On the cataracts.
And he had to stay in the hospital about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay. What, so your father he was a bookkeeper or an accountant early in his life?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And he grew up where? In South Key
No.
or in that area?
Well, the house that he was born in is still there.
It's in
It's
Franklin.
in Isle of Wight County.
Okay.
But when they did away with that house, or they moved out of that house, they moved to a place in Franklin,
In the town?
in the town of
Okay.
Franklin, and that's where he spent most of his time.
Okay. And what did his father do?
I don't know because
Okay.
I never thought about that.
But he died when he was 6.
Yeah, when Daddy was 6, his father died.
Okay.
I don't know what he died of.
Right. Was there a grandfather that was the first pastor at South Key, or was?
That's on my mother's side.
Okay. Okay. I got you. All right. So that was a Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
But he wasn't I don't think he was the first. He was the first pastor of Holland Baptist Church.
Okay.
But South Key church had been there and functioning, but he was one of the pastors in it.
Okay.
At some time in his life.
Okay. All right.
He Jones, I believe, was his name.
I'm not sure. Joyce would know from
Okay.
Yeah.
genealogy.
That's all right.
But anyway, he served in the infantry, what you'd call the infantry in the Civil War.
Okay. All right.
And he had gone to college 1 year at the University of Virginia
Okay.
as a studying medical stuff.
Okay.
So when he went into the army, they put him with the medics,
Okay.
and he was gone for several months, but he made it back.
Good.
And when he got back, he started preaching.
Okay.
And he preached at, as I said, Holland Baptist and South Key Baptist.
Okay. All right. And so your dad was definitely in the southeast region of Virginia. That's where he grew up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Around Franklin.
Okay. Somewhere in that area. And so he grew up, and then when he was still in his probably 18 or 19, World War One broke out, and he went to World War One, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. And what did he served in the infantry over in France, right? In
Right.
Normandy and
I don't
northwestern
know
France.
I don't know whether he was at Normandy or not.
Okay.
I think he was.
He may have.
In World
think
War
so.
One. Yeah.
Well, Normandy, there wasn't an invasion of Normandy like we think of in World War II, but
Yeah.
Normandy was a region in France.
Yeah.
They were
okay,
certainly fighting
okay.
there, trench
Yeah.
fighting. But
He wouldn't talk about it much.
okay.
And Mama said he never talked to her about it. So I
That's
don't.
common.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know.
And during that time, he wrote letters back to his mother and to his sister,
Mm.
Jenna Lee.
No.
No.
Not him.
Aunt M, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who was Aunt M? What was her name?
Emma.
Emma Holland.
Well, she was Emma Holland.
Okay.
She married Uncle Bill,
Okay.
who is my granddaddy's brother.
Okay.
And we are double cousins. Not
Okay.
first cousins, but double cousins.
From different sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cousins on both sides.
Right.
Mother
Right.
and father.
Sure. And that was pretty common back then. It did. And that was the only sibling he had.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the age difference between them?
Well, now there's there was a young boy that they named Clay,
Okay.
Carl Clay, but he died as an infant, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, his name, I'm not sure it was Clay, it was Carl anyway.
Okay.
But he died soon after, within the first year anyway.
Of him being born.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And was your father? Your father was Lawrence. What was his middle name?
Emmett.
Lawrence Emmett. And so was Lawrence Emmett older or younger than Emma?
He was older,
He was older. Okay.
I believe.
Okay. All right. And so he went off to war and he came back. And what did he do when he came back? Did he go to school? Did he get a job or?
Well, as far as I know, he got a job
Okay.
as an accountant
Okay.
at a sawmill somewhere in North Carolina.
Okay. Like northeastern part of North Carolina?
Northeastern part, yeah.
Okay.
Around
Okay.
Severn,
Okay.
North
Yeah,
Carolina.
Severn, that's right.
Okay. All right. And at what point did he meet his wife?
When he was born, I guess. No, they were part of the South Key family.
Right. Okay.
And he's quite a bit older than Mama. And
Okay. Who's Mama? What's her name?
Lila Ruth Jones.
Okay. All right. So Lila Ruth Throat. So he would have known her family growing up.
Oh yeah.
Known her.
They were all together.
Okay. All right.
And Daddy waited a long time to get married because he told Mama that he was waiting for her.
Is that right? Okay. All right. Was she? So what was the age difference between them?
Probably 10 to 15 years.
Okay, all right.
15, because she was 27, he was 42 when they got married.
When they got married.
Yeah.
Okay, so he comes back from the war and he works for quite a while before he gets married then, because he was probably 20, early
Well,
20s when he came back from the war.
Yeah, but when he worked a while after he got back.
Okay.
And he got married, and she had, can't think of what I was talking about.
That's all right. Well, so I'm just putting the timeline together. So World War I ended in 1919. He was probably older. He probably wasn't 19 or 20 when he went over there. If they got married when he was 42, because they got married in 1936.
I think they got married in
Early.
33.
33. Okay.
32 to 33.
And he was 42 at the time. Okay, so he was probably in his mid-20s or late 20s when he went off to war.
I think he was younger than that.
Okay. Well, if they got married in 33 and he was 42 when they got married, that means he was born in 1891.
He was born.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1889.
1889.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So he was, and they got married in 33. So he was 44.
Yeah.
Okay.
44, 45.
Okay, in that area.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. All right. So, well, then he was almost 30 years old when the war ended.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
One thing about him, he was a tremendous ball player.
is that right?
Yeah. Baseball player.
Okay. All right.
He played on a team in Franklin,
Okay.
and they would go to Murfreesboro to play games on the weekend, and they take the boat from South Key. There was a boat that went to Murfreesboro.
Okay.
And they played ball and got on a boat and came back.
Okay. And so, when are we talking about? When he was a kid or when he was older?
No,
After the war.
No, this was before the war.
Okay, before the war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And was that it was like we would think of a league nowadays?
Well, I'm not sure
Okay.
whether it was a league. It
Okay.
may have just been two teams
Right.
that,
Just
got together and,
bunch of people like to play.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Man, I think about that a lot
Yeah.
when I get ready to go play a softball tournament. I think about Daddy
Sure.
getting on that boat, going to play ball.
That's pretty neat. What position did he play?
He was an outfielder.
He was an outfielder. All right. All right. And did he, when y'all were growing up, did he still have his mitts and bats and everything?
He didn't have a bat. He had
Okay.
a glove.
Had his glove.
Of course, at the time we saw it was a piece of junk.
Well,
But
what they
he
used back
had-
then wasn't much.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
So it's not what we would think of as a glove nowadays.
Oh,
Right,
no.
right. It was probably leather, like a actual glove.
More like a pancake with fingers.
Is that right? All right.
Not much padding.
Right, right. Okay. All right. That's pretty interesting. So he comes back from the war. He's an accountant. And did he go to school to be an accountant? Where did he learn?
He went to Elon.
Okay.
He didn't graduate.
Okay. But he learned at Elon.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did graduate, didn't he, from Elon?
I don't think so.
Okay.
A&M did.
I think Daddy did too, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So he goes to school. He comes back and he's accountant at a lumber yard.
Sawmill.
In Severn, North Carolina. And where does his life go from there? And he's not married yet.
Well, he got married while he was working in Severn, and
Okay.
Mama had finished college, and she was teaching. She got
Okay.
a teaching job over in North Carolina
Okay.
while he was there. And then Grandma and Grandpa got sick
Okay.
and needed somebody to take care of him. So Mom and Daddy moved from North Carolina to the home place
Okay.
and spent the rest of his life at the home place.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about Grandma. Let's talk about Ruth for a second. Now, you say her name was Lila Ruth.
Lila Ruth
Lila Ruth.
Jones.
And Lila Ruth Jones. And she also grew up in the southeastern part of Virginia.
That house that we lived in was
Right.
her only home.
Okay. All right. And so.
Well, I take that back. She taught for a year in North Carolina.
Okay. All right. But that's where she grew up.
But she grew up there.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
Okay.
born raised
Okay.
there, basically, in that same house.
All right. And her father, I've forgotten already. Her father was the first minister?
No,
Okay.
he wasn't a minister at all.
Okay. All right.
His name was Philip Adolphus
Okay.
Jones.
Okay. And what did he do?
He was a farmer.
Okay. And that was the farm that he
That was the
farmed,
farm that he-
where the farmhouse.
Yeah.
And had his parents lived there as well? How did he come about to own that?
Well, yeah, his parents lived
that right?
there, and his father was the one that I was telling you about that went to war.
Okay.
It was a Civil War.
And what was his name? Could you say it again? I can remember.
J.E. Jones.
J.E. Jones. Okay. And then he came back and bought that property there at some point.
They got that property through a grant
Okay. All right.
from England, I believe.
Okay.
And his part of it was that 200 and some acres
Right.
there where the house was.
Okay. All right. All right. So Grandma, we'll call her Grandma because she grew up there, and then she went off to William and Mary,
Right.
and she got her. So what did she study?
Her first year. What is the name of that school? It was a school in the mountains of Virginia.
Bluefield College.
No. Anyhow, she studied music.
Okay. Shenandoah.
And she was there only 1 year,
Okay.
and then went to William and Mary.
And what did she study there?
I think education.
Okay. Okay. So she comes back to southeastern. She comes back South Cape area, and almost within a couple of years she marries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so she marries Lawrence and moves to Severn and starts teaching there.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was teaching somewhere in that area.
Okay. And then within a year or two of them getting married, her dad got sick and they had to move back.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what was going on with her dad? He just got sick from old age, couldn't operate the farm?
Yeah, he had an enlarged heart,
Okay.
and he could, some days he wouldn't even get out of the bed.
Is
There
that
were
right?
other days that he felt better and all right.
Okay. And was he alive when you were born? Do you
Yeah.
remember him? Both of y'all remember him?
Yeah.
Okay. When did he die? About how old were y'all?
I think I was about 8,
Okay.
8, 9, 7, 8, 9, right in there.
Let's see.
I was all that old.
I think I was 13, so that would make
About right.
you,
So,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So y'all have memories of him. And was he real sickly then, or he could still interact with y'all?
No, he could still.
Is that right?
With a son. Now, I don't know.
I don't remember him being sickly.
Okay.
I don't remember
Okay.
much about him at all, to be
Sure.
honest with
Sure.
you. I just remember what he looked like and
Right.
being there at home,
Sure.
but I don't really remember much
Okay.
about interacting. So,
All right.
So,
And that's probably right because you were too young at the time to have a remembrance of that.
Right. And what was your relationship with him, Uncle Philip? Did he tell y'all stories? He was kind of a quiet man, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's quiet, but you know, he never. I guess my greatest memory of him is I was standing in front of him, and something dropped on the floor, and both of us went down to pick it up, and we butted our heads together. And he looked at me and said, "I'm dying."
Was he joking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was joking with you.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, all right. So your dad and your mother go back, and they all live in the same house with her parents.
Right.
Okay, all right. And
Let's go back to.
sure, go ahead.
I should have maybe done this later, but
It's
talking
informal.
about our names,
Right.
PP comes from that grandfather.
Okay.
EE comes from Daddy's grandfather.
Okay. All right.
And CC comes from his brother.
Right. That it
Yeah.
passed as an infant. Okay. All right. No, this is real informal. So anything you want to come to, we'll just say it. And so they moved back with her parents, with grandma's parents, and to work the farm because somebody needed to work
Right.
the farm and weren't able to. So the farm is still 200 acres, or is it bigger or smaller by this time?
Well, it's the farm name. You mean?
Well, no, when they moved back, how big a farm is
Oh,
it?
it was the 200 acres,
Okay.
and now there were 30 acres of woodlands.
Okay.
The rest of it was fields.
Okay. All right.
170 acres of fields.
Okay.
Primarily a peanut farm.
Peanuts. Okay.
Primarily.
Peanuts, corn,
Okay.
cotton.
Was there a family garden just for?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Two of them, huh?
Yeah.
All right. And so grew peanuts and I know there was a peanut factory, at least when we look at it now. Was there a peanut factory then that was close by within a mile or so? Or am I thinking of it
Like the
wrong?
one Snooks and Jack ran.
Yeah, I know. I don't know when that was
Okay.
built, but it could have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So and so they would pick the peanuts, and did he have to bring in migrant workers to help when it was time to pick things, or everything
Yeah,
was
we
done by
had-
the family?
We had tenants.
Tenant workers? Okay.
Yeah.
And so did the tenants live on the farm, or they lived elsewhere?
They lived on the farm.
Okay. And who were some of them? You remember any names?
There was a
It's okay.
lady that
Demo was one of them.
Demo and Lucy.
Lucy?
And what was her husband Demo?
No, her husband was Biggie Boy.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Were they colorful people?
Huh?
Were they colorful people, characters?
Well, they
Hardworking people.
Hardworking
yeah,
people?
yeah.
Did they have children y'all's age? Or
There was one.
okay.
Well, there were two, I guess. I know
Okay.
of that they had that were in. There were children when we were children. I'll
Okay.
Put it that way.
And so the way that would work, they would get free housing to work the farm.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And they'd be paid
Sure.
too.
Sure.
They would have housing.
All right. And so you had 30 acres as well as woodland did, and you'd said that your father liked to fish. He built boats and
Yeah.
took y'all fishing. Did he hunt as well?
He didn't. He hunted some.
Okay.
He hunted quail.
Okay.
But as I remember, when we were coming along, he quit that because he couldn't see.
Okay. Okay.
But there's an interesting story about
Go
that.
ahead.
There used to be at this service station, which was about a mile from our home. They set up a turkey shoot
Okay.
every year,
Yeah.
and Daddy couldn't see anything,
Yeah.
but he won that turkey shoot.
Is that right? That's great. That's great. How did he win it?
Huh?
How did he just got lucky?
I guess. I mean, well, of course he could see enough to
Right.
direct where
Okay.
the shot was going.
All right,
It just
all
went
right.
went in the bullseye.
And you were shooting with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I would say he got a little fortunate.
Yeah, all the other men who were involved, they just couldn't believe it.
Right. That's great. What did so they grew peanuts and everything. Was there any livestock? What did chickens and
Hogs.
hogs? Okay.
Yeah.
And were the hogs strictly for family eating, or did he sell just depended on the situation, or
Well, they sold hogs.
sold
They
sold hogs?
yeah, but
Okay.
they also had a hog killing every night. Well,
Okay.
every year.
Every
Right.
fall.
Yeah.
And
They kill hogs and take the meat and hang it up in a smokehouse
Okay.
on the property there, and
Okay.
let it age, and then come along and eat it.
Right. Okay. All
Of
right.
course, you had chitlins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every part of the hog.
Smelled
Yeah.
up the house.
What? Okay. So in his spare time, did he play ball later on as well?
No.
Okay.
Couldn't
All right.
see well enough.
Couldn't see well enough. Okay. All right. And so he liked to work out in his workshop when he could. What other what was also memorable? Y'all went to church there close by. How far was the church away?
About a mile.
About a mile. And y'all walked, or did you
No.
have a car? Or
We had a car.
okay, what was it? What kind of car did y'all have? You remember? Well, we probably had different ones, but
Yeah, Granddaddy owned Pontiacs.
okay.
And no, his first one was the Oldsmobile.
Yeah, I don't remember that. The first one I remember was that black Pontiac.
Yeah, he had a Oldsmobile. And I think that Oldsmobile was the first car he ever bought. He was a fan of cars.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Could he work on them?
No, not
Okay.
really.
Okay. But he
was,
liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then let's see, Daddy always had a Chevrolet,
Okay.
and he had let's see what I believe he had a 51.
The 54 he had was that Pablo
Yeah,
tan.
51, 51 was green, I believe.
I believe
Then
so.
that Pablo tan was 54,
Okay.
and he had one. Oh, he
He
got
had a 58.
a green Biscayne 58. Yeah.
Okay.
The next one.
Yeah.
All right. And these, when we think about car now, these would be big sedans,
Yeah, they were
four-door sedans,
Four-door.
running boards, and
No,
or not in the
no, no,
50s.
no
Okay.
running boards.
All right. I
These weren't the great big cars. You know,
Right.
these were kind of the second alteration of automobile.
okay. All right. And so, did he have a tractor?
No,
No.
he didn't have.
And so everything was done with a mule or okay, and a
And plow.
full plow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
Now,
go ahead.
at some point, they started renting the land out,
Mhm.
and others farmed the land
Okay.
on halves. In other words, one would pay half of the cost of the seed and fertilizer and that kind of thing, and the other one would pay the other half, and they would split it up when the harvest came in.
Okay.
Each one of them paid half. So
Okay.
that's how I never knew Daddy operating a piece of equipment
Okay.
on the farm.
Okay.
But he supervised the guy more
Right.
or less that was tending.
Okay. All right.
Now, do you remember who, if anybody, tended it before Bud Goodman?
No, I don't.
Because he's the only one I ever remember.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was the only one that. But Biggie Boy and Demo and Ed Carter was another one. And Henry, there was Henry.
Yeah, Henry was.
So those tenants did all of the work, all the back-breaking work.
Sure.
In running that farm or doing that farm, and Daddy would just tell them what to do and
Right.
get them what they needed, and
Right.
that kind of thing.
Okay. All right. And then when the crops came in, they would sell it to a local factory, and then he would give them some money based on the harvest.
Based on the pound,
On the
pounds of
poundage.
peanuts.
Okay.
In other words, I can always remember they were happy when the peanuts were 13 cents a pound.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That seems hard to understand nowadays, but 13 cents went a long way, I'm sure.
Well, peanuts were the big thing back then
How so?
in that area of Virginia because it was the #1 crop,
Okay.
and the government regulated how many acres of peanuts a farmer could plant
Okay.
based on the number of acres of land that he had.
Okay.
And it was called a peanut allotment. In other words, the government would give each farmer a peanut allotment. And that was the maximum number of acres they could plant in peanuts.
Okay.
Well, they could plant it extra if they wanted to, but they'd be penalized
Right.
on the whole crop.
What was the thought behind that?
To not let the peanuts be a,
Well, they didn't want it to be more than what the market could bear.
yeah,
Okay.
In other words, the
didn't want a
government,
surplus.
right, the government was regulating it very much as they do wheat and things like that. And then they
Okay.
also did that with tobacco for a while.
And this would have been during the Great Depression as well. So,
I don't know
No.
when it started exactly, but
Well, I don't either, but it was all the time we were there.
yeah, all the time we lived, and the value of the farms were determined a lot by the peanut allotment in those areas. In other words, the more your peanut allotment, the more your farm was worth.
okay. All right. And Uncle Phil, when were you born?
When?
Yes, sir.
1938.
Okay. All right. Well, then we're not talking about depression ended with the war, pretty much. So, okay. All right. So they grew the peanuts and shared in some of the profit with the tenant farmers. What and so you went to church there at South Key, which was about a mile away, and that was a Baptist church.
Baptist Church.
Okay. And what was your did your parents, were they active in the church as far as how did they interact with the church?
Mama was very active.
Okay.
She taught Sunday school class. She played the organ.
She was there when the door was open and the door was closed.
Is that right?
That's
Okay.
what it boiled
Yeah.
down to.
Okay.
But Daddy wouldn't go,
Okay.
and he didn't go to church. He would go maybe on a Christmas program where we were involved in the program. He might go for that, but normally he didn't attend.
Okay. All right.
But he was a member of the Christian church
And
in
Franklin,
Franklin.
yeah.
Okay.
And he always, he didn't go, but I always remember that the preacher from over there would always come and visit.
Is that right?
At least once a year.
Okay.
And if they got a new preacher, he would always come out
Is that
and
right?
visit Dad. I don't know if you remember that or not.
No,
Different
Okay.
men would come.
All
I don't
right.
know why, but I just remember
Right.
that.
Okay. And did your mother stop teaching when y'all were born, or did she continue teaching?
no, she stopped teaching when they moved back to the
Okay.
farm.
All right. Did she ever teach again?
No.
Okay.
Well, she did some substitute teaching
Later on in
in
life.
Holland.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in
Okay.
school.
Okay.
I didn't.
Because I can tell you a little story that
Go
reinforces
ahead.
that is, she was teaching our class one day when I was in the 5th or 7th grade. I'm not sure, one of the two of them. And she was turned writing on the board, and I was a very mischievous student. Never did anything bad, but just mischievous. So
Right.
I took a pen and put it here and blew down in it to make it whistle.
Uh-huh.
And Mama was very strict, and everybody knew it. And she turned around and she said, "Whoever blew in that pen and made that whistle, get up and go to the principal's office." So I got up and went to the principal's office. And those other kids in my class never forgot that as long as we lived. And she really had the reputation from that point on. The kids used to say, "I tell y'all, I'm not doing anything with Miss Holland because she nailed Clay, I can tell you that."
What did she say when you got home?
I don't even want to know. She told Dad, and I'm not sure where it went from there.
It wasn't good,
It
though.
wouldn't be pleasant.
How old was that? How old were you?
I was in either the 5th or the 7th grade.
Okay.
But
Okay.
back in that day and time, when, not mother, but when any teacher sent you to the principal's office or whatnot, and you had to go home and tell your parents, it wasn't any question about who was right or who was
Right,
wrong.
right.
The teacher was the queen bee,
Sure.
and what the teacher said was fact.
Sure.
And if the teacher said you did this, that, or the other, then you got the biggest punishment when you got home.
Yeah,
generally.
I'm sure.
Dad had a nice little belt strap there he would make available for such circumstances.
Did Uncle Phil, did you ever get the belt?
No, I really didn't. I guess I was introduced to it, but
Right.
I don't ever remember getting.
Right. Okay.
The
that was
only time Daddy hit me was we were upstairs there in Mama's bedroom, Dad and Mama and all of us up there. I don't know why we were up there, but anyway, we got to roughhousing, and I hit Daddy, and he hit me back harder than I thought he ought to.
Well, I got the belt a time or two, but I also got a switching from Mama a time.
Is that
or
right?
two. Yeah.
Okay.
I can
All right.
remember that.
Okay.
She'd grab a switch, and then she'd grab my hand out in the yard to hold me so
Yeah.
she could switch me. Well, we'd end up going around in a circle because I'd be running. She'd be hitting with the switch. I can remember that.
When you say a switch, you mean a stick.
No, it was a switch.
What does that mean?
It's a
branch?
little
Right.
little
Green branch.
little green branch
Right,
that
right,
you
right.
peel off of a bush
Sure,
or something.
sure,
You know,
yeah.
it would put little whelps on your
Oh, yeah,
legs.
yeah.
And,
Right,
and
I
burn,
understand.
but it wouldn't hurt you or anything. But anyway, that was all part of growing up.
Was there anyone when y'all were growing up that how close was other family? Was family close by in the area?
South Key would be the closest.
Okay. All
which
right.
is, that's about a mile and a half.
Okay. So there was other family and who were some of those family members and was there anybody really influential or anybody memorable characters or anybody y'all could think of that would come and visit and things like that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They would come. It's interesting. They would Jack and his family. Jack was the son of Uncle Bill.
Okay.
Uncle Bill was my grandfather's brother.
Okay.
And Jack and his family would come up and visit us one night every week.
Okay.
Minimum.
Usually.
Is that right?
Yeah, sometimes. And Snooks would come up there occasionally. Snooks is Jack's brother.
Okay.
He'd come up occasionally at night. And to reciprocate, we always went down to their house on Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And visited. And of course, it was a regular thing. And every now and then, Jack wouldn't show up. Or when he was supposed to, and Mom would call him, ask him, wasn't they coming? Yeah, we'll be there in a little while. So that was their social circle.
Okay, and that was usually involve a meal. Y'all get together for a meal, or he just stop by and talk. Okay.
Talk
right.
after supper.
Okay.
Well, I know after you all were gone, he probably came a little bit more because he and Bessie, which was his second wife, and Jen Lee Melson would come up.
Yeah.
And lots of times we'd be in the back of the house, which is where the kitchen was, eating, and they'd come in and come right on through and come right on back.
Okay.
And sit down while we were finishing supper.
Right.
A lot of times.
Okay. All right.
But one little funny story, which is appropriate to throw in, I think now, is that Jack was big on automobiles.
Okay.
And he always bought Cadillacs.
Okay.
And he liked to have the biggest and best looking car, and Cadillac was it back then with the big fins on it, you know.
Right.
And he was very particular about his car.
Uh-huh.
Well, he and his wife Bessie came up one night to visit. And my cousin from Whaleville was spending the night with me. His name was Webb Jones.
Uh-huh.
And so Jack had gotten a brand new Cadillac that afternoon. I mean, it was fancy to say the least. Well, I don't know whose idea it was, but Webb and I decided that we were going to put some rocks in his hubcap. So we took his front hubcap off on the right wheel, and we put rocks in it and put it back on. Well, when the visit was over and Jack and Bessie got in the car and he started out that driveway, well, those rocks started making noise in that hubcap. He sailed out of that car like you wouldn't believe, didn't know what in the world was going on. But when he found out what happened, he found out pretty quickly. He went back in the house and he told Mom and Daddy, he said, I'm telling y'all right now, you will never see my foot in this house again. He said, I will never come up here again. And he said, this is the worst thing. I mean, he just went on and on and on. But to him, it was. Because that was a brand spanking new car. It was the best you could buy at the time.
Right.
And he was just so particular. Well, needless to say, they were back up at it next night. But boy, he was upset, and he never let us forget that.
What did he do? What did he do for a living? How could he afford Cadillac? That seemed like an expensive
Well, he
car.
farmed,
Okay.
and he and his brother Snoops ran the peanut factory.
Okay. All right.
Now, the peanut factory was the sort of the go-between. They would buy the peanuts from the farmers, store them there, and then they would sell them to
Food manufacturer.
food manufacturers.
They would grade them. They
Well,
grade
yeah,
Okay.
they grade them too. You
Okay.
had different grades according to the size and also how much moisture was in them. That was
Okay.
important, that there wasn't much moisture. And then they would sell them to the peanut growers associations down in Suffolk
Okay.
primarily.
All right.
Planters, peanuts, and producers, and they had big factories there in Suffolk.
Okay.
Suffolk was about 15, 17 miles
Yeah, something like
from
that.
Okay.
where we were.
Okay. And so they lived in the house we think of, not where Eva lives now. They lived across the street, right?
Jack
did.
Jack did.
Jack and Bessie.
Eva and
Her family.
Snoops lived where Eva is now.
Okay. All right. And so Eva is Snooks' sister?
Daughter.
Daughter. Okay. All right.
Snoops
Okay.
had 2 children.
Okay.
Jim and Eva.
Okay. Right. Okay. That's right. That's right. Okay. So, and this is about 2 miles from y'all's house. They live on what was the name of the river there? The Blackwater River?
Blackwater River. Yeah,
And that-
that's a mile and a half.
A mile and a half
something
from
like
y'all's
that.
house?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. And so y'all saw them right regular. Was anybody else y'all saw regular? Anybody on grandma's side? Well, they were on grandma's side. Was anybody on your father's side that y'all saw?
They were on our father's side too. Yeah,
Right. That's
Right.
true. That's true. All right. How often did you see Emma?
well, she lived with Jack.
Okay.
And Jen Lee, also, that was her home, although she taught school in Richmond.
Now, who is Jenny Lee?
Jen Lee is Jack and Snoops' sister.
Okay. All right. And her name is Jenny, Ginny, right?
Jen.
Jenny. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenny
All right.
Lee.
Jenny Lee.
She
Okay.
she never married.
Okay. All right. And she lived there with Emma and Jack?
Her home place was there, but she rented an apartment. She had an apartment in Richmond where she
Okay.
taught school.
Okay.
For most of her life, didn't she?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh.
But A&M also
Mhm.
worked at the peanut factory,
Okay.
sort of as a bookkeeper.
Okay. All right.
And I used to go down there as a child. I'd go by the peanut factory and see her. And I was always fascinated with little books and tablets and things.
Yeah.
And she would give me sometimes a little sales book
Right.
that they used. And back then I thought having that was wonderful.
Is that right?
You know,
Okay.
I just like that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Right. Okay.
But and she'd come and visit us too. And
Yeah.
she would always bring us something on our birthday.
Yeah. Was there what was your favorite food that Grandma would fix for y'all? Was there something in particular that you really look forward to? Or
Yeah, corn
corn
was my favorite, I guess.
on the ear?
Yeah,
On the
either
cob?
way.
Okay.
Either way.
Any kind of
Yeah.
way. All right. And Dad?
Corn, butter beans,
Okay.
mashed potatoes. We had 2 gardens.
Okay.
And Daddy worked both of the gardens and took care of them. And,
Okay.
one of the tenants helped him when he needed it, as far as plowing it up at the beginning of the year and things like that. But and Mama would go out and pick vegetables sometimes every morning
Okay.
and whatnot. And corn, butter beans, that was the best.
Right. What did y'all have any pets growing up? I know you had the hogs and the donkey and everything else. Were there any dogs or cats
No
or
donkeys, just a mule.
the mule? That's
Mule.
right. The mule. What was the name of the mule? Did it have a name?
I think Bessie is what
Bessie.
some of
I
the
don't
tender
remember.
farmers call them.
We had 2
But
mules.
cereal mule.
Okay. All right. Any dogs or cats or?
Yeah, we had dog was King. He was
King?
a
Is that
husky.
right?
You remember when we got him, I imagine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Y'all went down to Norfolk with Daddy, didn't you?
to get him.
And I mean, I might have been involved. I don't remember.
Okay. All right. And so about how old were you then?
Probably 10, 11,
Okay.
12 years
All
old,
right.
somewhere along
That's
that
probably
area.
right, because I was gonna say I was 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
And
And
he lived a long life with us.
okay.
yeah.
Now, was he allowed in the house? He was an outside dog?
Yeah,
Or?
outside.
Mama
Right.
would not allow
You don't
any
have
dog
dogs
or
in the
cat
house.
in the
Right.
house, I can tell you that.
That's right. I can imagine.
And we had a bunch of cats around,
Okay. Always some
coming
cats
and
around.
going all the time.
Okay. All right. What did I know sports is important to both of y'all. What's your first memories of playing organized sports? Uncle Phil?
I played on a team that was put together by a boy that was probably um, he was 4 years older than I was, and he formed a team in Holland.
Okay.
It'd be like a little league team, but it wasn't little league. It
Right.
was just a baseball team, and we played a team out of Southport.
Okay.
There were only 2 teams we played, and that's or 2 teams that we were available. But this guy Jim Batten put that team together, and that was the first organized
Okay.
team that I played on. That Gene and I acted like a general manager for a team
Okay.
because there was a sand pit not far from the house, maybe 500 yards from the house.
Okay.
That we went out there and built a baseball field.
Is that right?
There were just 2 of us, but we had a
Right.
we just loved baseball so
Sure.
much that we were involved in it from that aspect.
Okay. And was that love directly from your father? Because he enjoyed it obviously
Well,
too.
I'm sure
That was influence.
It had a lot to do with it, yeah.
Did y'all listen to? Now there weren't any TVs. Did y'all listen to ball on the radio?
Yeah.
Okay. And what were the favorite teams in the house?
Well, our favorite team was Cleveland,
Okay.
and the reason was because Bob Feller was hot during that time, and
Okay.
so we find out that Bob Feller was one of the top pitchers in the league, and we started rooting for
Is
Bob
that right?
Feller in Cleveland. See,
Now,
there
he-
wasn't any teams. Washington was the closest team,
Right.
major league team to
Okay.
where we live.
Okay.
Now, when he says we, he's talking about he and Gene.
Right.
Yeah.
You like somebody
Daddy
else.
and I were Giant fans.
Okay.
Daddy
And how
was
did y'all get to
Daddy
be
was
Giants?
a Giant fan.
Yeah.
Daddy was always a Giant fan because he played at one time with a fellow that ended up being one of the better infielders that the Giants had, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a good friend of Daddy's from North Carolina,
Yeah,
Okay.
and he played with the Giants.
his name.
Okay. All right. And so you were able to pick up these games on the radios with the Giants in Cleveland?
No, the Yankees games were on the radio.
Okay.
And that was all that was on there.
Right. Right. What did you ever get to go to a game?
Yeah, hold on a minute. Rap Whitehead was that guy.
Was that the guy?
Yeah.
That's the guy that played for the Giants that also played with your father?
Well, he yeah, but not at the major league or
Right.
minor league level.
Okay.
Just
Just happened to play with him
Earlier,
sometime. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ralph Whitehead
Uh,
was his name?
Rap.
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 Okay.
Whitehead
Okay.
was his name.
Okay. All right. All
And
right.
Whitehead wanted to take Daddy up to New York for a try,
Okay.
and Daddy told him no, he wouldn't go. He wasn't interested in that because it was a hard living.
Okay.
And Whitehead had told him all about his experiences and
Right.
all, and it was too hard a living, and he wasn't interested in doing that.
Okay. All right.
So he didn't go.
Okay. All right. And
But
go
you
ahead.
mentioned sports being important.
Right.
Well, when we were little, at least from my standpoint, now I don't know about Phil and Gene particularly, but I can't remember doing anything else but playing baseball, basketball there in the yard
Okay.
with Phil and Jean and
Right.
some kids from the neighborhood.
Sure.
There was one boy called Billy Johnson that used to come up and play baseball all the time.
Okay.
And we always had a game going somewhere
Okay.
all the time.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
And Phil and Jean had a big basketball goal put up.
Right.
We put it in.
Yeah, you put it up, Mom, with Bud Goodman's help, I think. He backed the tractor and trailer up there so y'all could lift it up.
Maybe so.
Okay.
And
All right.
it was a real basketball. I mean, it wasn't just the goal, it was
Sure.
the backboard and the frame
Is that right?
behind it
Okay.
attached to the smokehouse,
All right.
was it not?
Well, the first one we had was out in the back in the side yard.
Okay, I don't remember that one.
You remember where we used to play baseball and hit home runs over the fence through
Yeah,
that tree?
Through the tree, yeah.
Well, if you're standing with your back to the shop where the shop equipment was,
Mm-hmm.
and right in front of that there was a flat place that we built a goal and put up.
Okay.
It was on the backboard was on two big poles.
Yeah, I barely remember something about that.
Okay.
Now that you mention it.
All right. Well, I think we're at a good chance to take a break here.